Hello everyone, and welcome to our channel. Today, we'll be delving into one of the most shocking cases that has captivated the world, the Jeffrey Epstein case. This case has not only caused a stir due to serious allegations of human trafficking and abuse, but also because of Epstein's mysterious death in prison. Every detail of this case raises questions yet to be answered, revealing a web of power and secrecy that spans years. Join us as we explore one of the most complex and controversial cases in modern history. Jeffrey Epstein was born on January 20, 1953, in Brooklyn, New York, to Jewish parents Pauline and Seymour Epstein. His mother worked as a school aide and homemaker, while his father worked for the New York City Parks Department. Epstein grew up in the working-class neighborhood of Seagate, Coney Island, with his younger brother Mark. Their family was known for being humble and kind. Epstein attended local public schools, excelling in mathematics and tutoring his classmates to earn extra money. He was described as quiet, bookish, and generous, earning the nickname Epi, a talented musician. Epstein attended the National Music Camp at Interlochen in 1967, showcasing his skills as a pianist. Graduating from Lafayette High School in 1969, at just 16, Epstein skipped 2 grades. He enrolled at Cooper Union for advanced math classes, then transferred to NYU's Courant Institute of Mathematical Sciences, focusing on mathematical physiology. However, he dropped out in 1974 without completing his degree. Jeffrey Epstein began teaching at Dalton School in Manhattan in 1974, despite lacking formal qualifications, possibly due to special recruitment by Donald Barr, the school's former headmaster. However, Epstein was dismissed in 1976 for inappropriate behavior and poor performance. Shortly after, he joined Bear Stearns and quickly became a skilled financial trader. In 1981, Epstein left the company due to internal violations and founded IAGA consulting firm that helped wealthy clients recover assets and became involved in political matters like the Iran-Contra affair. By the late 1980s, Epstein worked at Towers Financial but left before a Ponzi scheme scandal erupted. He later founded J. Epstein & Company, advising billionaire Leslie Wexner, and gradually gaining control over his vast fortune. Epstein expanded his operations in the Virgin Islands, building a powerful financial empire. Epstein was known to have installed hidden cameras throughout his properties to record sexual activities involving underage girls and high-profile individuals, allegedly for blackmail purposes. Ghislaine Maxwell, his longtime companion, once told a friend that Epstein's private island in the Virgin Islands was fully equipped with surveillance, suggesting they filmed guests as a form of insurance. During a police raid on his Palm Beach residence in 2006, 2 hidden cameras were discovered, and reports indicated that his New York mansion was also extensively monitored. Maria Farmer, an artist who worked for Epstein in 1996, recounted seeing a media room in his New York home where individuals monitored various hidden cameras. Accessed through a concealed door, the room had men watching live feeds from cameras placed in private areas, including bathrooms and bedrooms, indicating a clear intent to invade privacy. Epstein was accused of lending girls to powerful figures to gain their favor and potentially gather blackmail material. The Department of Justice reported that he kept locked CDs in a safe at his New York estate, labeled with handwritten notes that suggested he had compromising information. In a 2018 interview with a New York Times reporter, Epstein hinted at possessing damaging details about influential individuals, including their sexual preferences and drug use. In March 2005, a woman contacted the Palm Beach Police Department in Florida, claiming that her 14-year-old daughter had been taken to Epstein's mansion by an older girl. During the visit, the girl was allegedly paid $300 to strip and massage Epstein. This prompted a secret investigation by the Palm Beach police that lasted 13 months, including a search of Epstein's home. Police Chief Michael Rieter publicly criticized local prosecutor Barry Krischer for being too lenient and sought assistance from the FBI. The FBI subsequently joined the investigation, which revealed allegations that Epstein had paid several girls for sexual acts. Interviews with 5 alleged victims and 17 sworn witnesses, along with items found in Epstein's trash, indicated that some of the girls were under 18, with the youngest being just 14. During the search, police discovered 2 hidden cameras and numerous photographs of girls, some of whom had been interviewed. Adriana Ross, a former model and Epstein's assistant, reportedly removed computer drives and other electronic devices from his Florida estate before the police search. Court documents revealed that a 2005 search, led by Detective Joseph Recaray, uncovered an Amazon receipt for books on sadomasochism. A former employee informed police that Epstein received massages 3 times a day. Ultimately, the FBI compiled reports on 34 confirmed minors eligible for restitution, a number that later increased to 40 in a non-prosecution agreement. Investigative articles by Julie Brown in 2018 identified 80 victims, with around 60 located. She quoted Chief Rieter, stating that the victims were primarily women over 50, all telling similar stories. The investigation also included allegations that a group of 12-year-olds was flown in from France for Epstein's birthday and returned the next day after being abused. Young girls were reportedly recruited from Brazil, other South American countries, former Soviet states, and Europe, with the modeling agency MC2 supplying girls to Epstein. In May 2006, the Palm Beach police submitted an affidavit recommending that Epstein be charged with 4 counts of unlawful sexual activity with minors and 1 count of sexual abuse. On July 27, 2006, Epstein was arrested on state felony charges of soliciting a minor for prostitution and procuring a prostitute. He was held at the Palm Beach County Jail and later released on a $3,000 bond. State Prosecutor Krischer convened a grand jury, typically reserved for capital cases, which presented evidence from only 2 victims, resulting in a single charge of solicitation, to which Epstein pleaded not guilty in August 2006. His defense team included notable figures such as Roy Black, Alan Dershowitz, and Ken Starr, with linguist Steven Pinker also providing support. In July 2006, the FBI launched its own investigation into Epstein, dubbed Operation Leap Year. This effort culminated in a 53-page indictment in June 2007. At that time, Alexander Acosta, the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of Florida, agreed to a plea deal negotiated with the help of Alan Dershowitz that granted Epstein immunity from all federal criminal charges, along with 4 named co-conspirators and any unnamed potential accomplices. According to the Miami Herald, this non-prosecution agreement effectively shut down an ongoing FBI investigation into whether there were additional victims and powerful individuals involved in Epstein's sexual crimes. The deal not only halted the investigation, but also sealed the indictment. The Miami Herald reported that Acosta agreed to keep the deal confidential from the victims, despite conflicting federal laws. Acosta later stated that he offered a lighter plea deal because he was informed that Epstein was connected to intelligence, was above his pay grade, and should be left alone. Epstein ultimately pleaded guilty in a Florida state court to 2 counts of solicitation, serving 18 months in prison, registering as a sex offender, and compensating 36 victims identified by the FBI. A federal judge later found that prosecutors had violated the victims' rights by concealing the agreement from them and instead urging them to be patient. An internal review conducted by the Department of Justice's Office of Professional Responsibility, released in November 2020, concluded that Acosta exhibited poor judgment in granting Epstein a non-prosecution agreement without informing the alleged victims. On June 30, 2008, after pleading guilty to state charges of soliciting an underage girl for prostitution, Epstein was sentenced to 18 months in prison. Unlike most sex offenders in Florida who are sent to state prisons, Epstein was placed in a special unit at the Palm Beach County Stockade. After serving just over 3.5 months, he was allowed to leave the facility under work release, a program that permitted him to be out for up to 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. This violated the sheriff's policy, which stated that sex offenders were ineligible for such privileges and allowed Epstein to leave the facility during non-designated hours. Epstein's cell door was left unlocked, and he had access to a law office equipped with a TV. Epstein's non-profit paid the sheriff's office $128,000 to cover the costs of services provided while he was out on work release. The office was supervised by licensed officers who were paid overtime by Epstein, and these officers were tasked with duties like welcoming guests at a reception desk. The sheriff's office later admitted that visitor logs had been destroyed, despite the requirement to maintain records at Stockade. Epstein was allowed to use his private driver to take him between prison and his office or other appointments. After serving nearly 13 months, he was released on July 22, 2009, and placed under house arrest until August 2010. During this time, he was permitted to fly on his private jet to his properties in Manhattan and the U.S. Virgin Islands, go on long shopping trips, and walk around Palm Beach for exercise. In January 2011, after a contentious hearing and appeal, Epstein remained listed as a Level 3 sex offender, high risk of reoffending in New York, a lifetime designation. Despite efforts by his lawyers to have his level reduced to a low-risk Level 1, the judge maintained the decision, though Epstein was not required to comply with the regulation requiring him to visit the NYPD, a rule that was never enforced by the NYPD. The controversial plea deal and Epstein's lenient treatment sparked public debate. The Palm Beach sheriff accused the state of favoritism, and the Miami Herald reported that U.S. Attorney Acosta gave him a lifetime deal. After Epstein's July 2019 arrest, Acosta resigned as Labor Secretary. As the case gained attention, several individuals and organizations returned Epstein's donations, including Elliot Spitzer, Bill Richardson, and the Palm Beach Police Department. Harvard, however, refused to return any funds. Epstein's charitable donations, especially for child education, also faced scrutiny. In 2010, Epstein's former house manager, Alfredo Rodriguez, was sentenced to 18 months for obstruction after trying to sell a notebook containing crucial details about Epstein's activities. FBI agent Christina Pryor confirmed it, included key witness and victim information. On July 6, 2019, Jeffrey Epstein was arrested by the FBI's Child Exploitation Task Force and NYPD at Teterboro Airport in New Jersey on charges of sex trafficking. He was detained at the Metropolitan Correctional Center in New York City. Witnesses reported that around a dozen FBI agents broke down the door of Epstein's Manhattan residence, the Herbert N. Strauss House, with a search warrant. The raid uncovered evidence of sex trafficking, including hundreds, possibly thousands of explicit photos of fully or partially nude women, some of whom were identified as underage. In a locked safe, agents discovered CDs labeled with handwritten notes like "Name Young plus Name," other nude photos, and naked girl photos. Additionally, the safe contained $70,000 in cash, 48 diamonds, and a fake Austrian passport, expired in 1987, with Epstein's photo but a different name. The passport also contained entry stamps for France, Spain, the UK and Saudi Arabia in the 1980 SE, with a listed residence in Saudi Arabia. Epstein's lawyers argued that the passport was advised as a precaution due to his status as a wealthy Jewish man, which they claimed put him at risk of kidnapping abroad. On July 8, Epstein was charged with sex trafficking and conspiracy to sex traffic minors. The indictment stated that dozens of underage girls were brought to Epstein's mansion for sex. Judge Kenneth Mara would later determine whether a previous non-prosecution agreement shielding Epstein from more serious charges would remain in effect. Despite requesting bail, offering to pay $100 million and agree to house arrest in his New York mansion, Epstein's request was denied by U.S. District Judge Richard M. Berman on July 18. Berman cited Epstein's danger to the public and high flight risk. On August 29, 2019, just 19 days after Epstein was found dead in his jail cell, Judge Berman officially closed the case against him. Prosecutors announced that investigations into potential accomplices would continue.